What up, everybody? This is Josh Beauduy, host of the Stock Talk podcast. We are live for this episode. If you don't know, just look outside and you see the rain. There is a tornado warning. So if we get any updates to y'all, we will be letting you all know. Once again, I'm the host of the Stock Talk podcast, Josh Beauduy, and today I'm joined once again by my friend and co-host of the show, Niko.
Kritiikos.
Niko, how you doing?
Fantastic. Great week in the market.
Okay, besides that, how's your week been going? How's your summer class doing?
It's been super busy. Lots of guitar lessons, lots of rides, lots of stock trades, lots going on.
Oh, yeah, I saw that ride. You went to O'Hare, or was that O'Hare?
That's right, O'Hare and Midway, yep.
But how was the O'Hare ride? You know, O'Hare's so far from me.
Yeah, it's a lot farther, and there's more traffic problems when you go to O'Hare.
Okay.
Because there's so many lane closures and construction going on, it's such an issue.
Okay, so besides that, once again, we have a guest. Niko, can you please introduce our guest real quick?
Yes. Very special guest, Josh Klocek, on the show today.
Josh and Josh episode today. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, hi, guys. I'm just going to introduce myself. My name is Josh Klocek. I'm an entrepreneur, and I work in the music industry. I've been working in the music industry since about 2018. I'm also been involved in cryptocurrency since 2016.
Okay, so what really, what was the point of you actually getting started into with cryptocurrency?
It was back 2016. It was really when Bitcoin started to really take off, and I got in about it was about $200 a coin.
Okay.
And I had been interested in it for a while, but I had never taken it too seriously. And I got a little bit of money here and there from saving up from working and stuff, and I just thought this is a speculative investment, but it's something that's going to be worth something big one day. So I got in, and ever since then I've been hooked, and I've been involved ever since 2016.
Okay, he said you also in the music business as well. Can you give the people more background on you?
Yeah. So I work for a music video production company called No More Heroes. It's based out of Chicago. Now we also have offices in LA.
Okay.
And we started off doing music videos. We were one of the companies. We launched the artist famous decks into being famous.
Okay.
But ever since then we've taken on more of an artist management role. So now we're trying to transition to be a record production label and plan concerts, own artists, all that type of jazz. So.
Okay, besides famous decks, what's some other artists that you guys are?
So we do a lot of work with G Herbo, a lot of work with we've done stuff with Lil Durk, a lot of different Chicago artists. I mean, we've also done stuff with other big artists, mostly in the rap industry. A lot of the artists we work with are in hip hop and rap. But I'm trying to think of some of the bigger names. We've done stuff with Post Malone. We've done stuff with Wiz Khalifa, Lil Pump. Name a hip hop artist, I've probably been around the block with them at some point.
Oh, that's cool.
Very cool.
That's cool. Okay, but Niko, let's talk more about your week in the stock market. You talked about it already. You said it was a great week. Explain to everyone how it was a great week for you.
Well, okay, so the first 6 months of this year so far have been pretty stable. Okay, most of my stocks, my account has been at the same value it was when I started off in January. But this week, a lot of big stocks went up. So Tesla was up 7% this week, okay, so that pushed my account up a lot. Then we had the trade desk. Ever since the trade desk fell a couple weeks ago, I bought in as soon as it fell, and it's been up 30+% since then. So trade desk has been awesome. And then on Friday, Jinko Solar reported earnings, and they reported EPS of 15 cents compared to estimates of -2 cents. So
and real quick, I want to apologize for you. I do want to apologize. I made fun of you buying Jinko Solar. I told him, he was so happy. He said, "Oh my God, I think Jinko Solar is going to really go up."
Yeah.
But I told him, I don't think so. And guess what? That week, it didn't go up. It actually went down. He lost a lot of money.
Yeah, I lost my value. My value of the stock went down a lot. But then they killed earnings yesterday. The stock went up 13%, I want to say. And so now we're back on track to, profitability, and I see lots of success in the future.
Okay, so also now let's talk more about Virgin Galactic. Virgin Galactic is something I actually bought as well. But once again, listen to Niko. He said, "Oh, space? Oh, it's so stupid. It's so stupid."
I just meant
why
that.
Would you buy that?
No.
You better buy the what's the guy for the Tesla thing? What's Elon's?
SpaceX.
SpaceX. You better be in a SpaceX. You better be in a SpaceX.
That's not what I meant.
And so he forced me to sell it.
No,
He forced me to sell it. He coerced me.
What I meant was it's too early on, and I felt like it was going to be super volatile. And I still feel that way. I still feel it's early on.
Okay,
so,
but where's that at now?
Okay, now you would have tripled your money or quadrupled your money. Yeah. Okay, well, you got to make your own decisions.
Okay. Now let's make your own decisions now. Okay. But you see, Josh, I probably would have been on an island if I didn't listen to Niko. but that's fine. So Niko,
Yeah.
I also want to actually let's start talking more about the history of the cryptocurrency right now because
Mhm.
Josh said he's been around crypto he started like around 2018. You said
2016.
2016.
Yeah.
So,
And I also want to see if Josh can give us the story of when you were mining at.
Yeah. So that's a good place to start off at. So I've been involved since 2016, and back in 2018, when everything was taking off with Bitcoin and all the other cryptos, I was working as a tech intern at Lake Central High School, and I found a way to install a JavaScript miner for a cryptocurrency called Monero. And I took advantage of that, and I ran a script on a lot of the computers in the school to mine that during the winter break. And that's what was going to be my big test. I wanted to run it all winter break. And it's not like mining Bitcoin where it uses a significant amount of power, but it goes through the CPU, not the GPU. So it would be something that wouldn't have been noticed on their bills, but I wanted to run that experiment. And they found out like 2 hours before school let out that day, and I got called down to the office. I ended up getting suspended.
Wow.
And
that's so funny.
Yeah, got suspended for mining crypto back in 2018, and I had to go back in and argue my case, and there was no rules against me doing what I did, so I only ended up being suspended for 1 day, but they wanted to get me for like a week and a half.
A week and a half?
Yes.
Man.
And I got kicked out of my position as an intern and stuff, but I mean.
That's crazy.
Okay, so but when did you just start getting into Bitcoin more? So you think you said you got it into like a little bit before? Talk to me.
Yeah.
More
So
about that.
Bitcoin. I've been like hearing about it since even before. I've been nerd about this since like 2014, but I'd never actually had the money to purchase anything. So in 2016, I got a little bit of money from working and stuff, and that's when I decided to put some money. So I got about 15 Bitcoin at about like $200 a piece. And then when Donald Trump got elected in later that year, it spiked up to like $700, and I thought this is the highest it's ever going to be, and sold it off then, and I made about like 12K.
Wow.
So
awesome.
at the time, that was amazing for me. I was a high school student. I made an investment, and it paid off. And then 2 years
you
later,
said 15 coins.
Yeah, 15
So
Bitcoin.
that'd be worth what today?
Oh my God.
Let me look at the current price right now.
Yeah, the current's like 30 something.
It's 30K. So yeah. So like
you'd have
450K, basically.
Wow.
And think about 2 months ago when it was like
When it was in the 50s, we had over $500,000.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
but
Oh my God.
So that was definitely a big regret, but I mean, I learned a lot just from that one experience about not selling and getting your emotions get to you when you're selling.
okay,
Right.
but how did you feel like more about the newer cryptocurrencies? It's kind of like Dogecoin, like those meme type of stocks. How did you feel about that?
So with especially with the meme stocks and the meme cryptos, I think this year especially has seen a huge rise in that, and it's because so many more people are hearing about crypto and getting involved in crypto. Like even back in 2018, it was still more niche. It was still people who were involved in technology and knew about the space. But now it seems like every high schooler with $50 spare in their bank account is getting involved in crypto, and that's partly due because things like Robinhood have make it easier. Even 2 years ago, like it was a lot harder. You had to set up all these individual wallets. You had to go through Binance, and that was a thing that a lot of kids probably didn't know how to do. But now you can just trade through things like Robinhood or PayPal, and that's really opened up the access for people to get involved. And unfortunately, it's caused a lot of scams and stuff with these altcoins that aren't worth anything. They're big scams that are set up to pump and dump basically all the money. So the founders of them make a big investment and get everyone on, use a bunch of marketing, get everyone on, and then sell all their shares and make the coin eventually worthless. So I think we've seen a lot of that this year. We've seen a lot of meme coins that there's not really any technology behind them. Doge obviously being the biggest one of them, and that's partly due because people like Elon Musk and stuff.
Did you get in at Doge at all or no?
So I last summer I actually just put $25 into it. I bought it like 0.003 of 1 penny. So I put $25 into it just as a let's see what happens with this. I didn't really care.
Yeah.
And that $25 eventually this year, I think at the peak it was worth about like $6,000. And I didn't, foolishly enough, I didn't sell because I thought the way things were going, I thought it was going to hit over $1. So I just held on to it. But
I do remember those days of thinking it'd go past $1, but hey.
And that's the thing too with the market, with crypto especially. It's so speculative and it's so volatile, where it's like you don't know what's going to happen, and the people now that everything's going for a downturn, people don't realize that this same exact thing happened in 2018 with crypto. The market's only been around for 10 years or so we haven't had many cycles, but it's a market like anything else. The same cycles that you see in the normal stock market are going to happen with this, just at a faster rate because of how volatile it is.
The drops are so much bigger in crypto.
Yeah, and it's the same way you'd see that same level of drop like every like 20 years or so on a traditional market through a recession. You're not going to see that. You're going to see that in 2 years, 3 years with crypto, and that's what's happening right now. People panic and people sell, but that leads into the way where I like to invest in crypto is when nobody's talking about it. I didn't purchase anything this year when everyone was freaking out and purchasing everything because I know in a year from now when it becomes the thing that nerds do again, that's when I'm going to prosper.
Of course.
And like how you were saying with some of those coins, like Doge and some of the smaller coins, I feel like the main problem is that the supply keeps increasing. They keep making more. It's hard for the price to go up.
Exactly, exactly. And that is the problem with a lot of altcoins too. It's owned by whoever is owning it, and it's just a private company, and they can do whatever they want with the supply. Like a big company that happened with that was Ripple. Ripple, I was fooled by Ripple back in 2018. I put a good amount of money into it, and it's worthless now. And it's just because the company keeps on increasing the supply and dumping their own shares into it and just making it worth less and less for the company to make more money. And that's unfortunately what's probably going to end up happening with a ton of these altcoins too.
Well, see, I feel like with some, like with the Bitcoin and Ethereum, it's a little bit different because like Bitcoin's supply is fixed, and then Ethereum's actually getting better because this summer they're supposed to burn some of the coins, so that's going to even push the price up higher.
Yeah, same for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. As far as crypto goes, those are like investing in like raw earth metals, like gold. It's gonna be stable-ish. It's when we're talking in the world of crypto, nothing is completely stable as compared to a traditional market. But I mean, with those coins, that's as stable as you're gonna get in the crypto world. So putting money into those is gonna be a stable investment in the long term. And it's partly because of what you were saying with how there's a fixed amount of coins and how those companies actively are taking steps to keep the value up.
Right. And don't you feel like once some of the big corporate, like let's say Apple, Amazon, and Facebook all put 1% of their assets into Bitcoin, that would make Bitcoin much more of a reliable and steady asset. So that's why I'm waiting for something like that to happen.
And that, I mean, you even partly saw that this year with like Doge,
Tesla. Well,
Doge, and then Tesla too. Yeah.
Right.
Because I mean, Elon put whatever percentage of his money into Doge, and that's part of the reason why it skyrocketed. But if you see it on a major scale like that with Tesla into Bitcoin too.
Right.
It's that I think will be a big step into like solidifying its position in the marketplace and making people realize that this is a like serious investment and it's a stable investment for the future.
Right.
Okay, but with also the rise of Dogecoin, it's also rappers that's actually making cryptocurrency. So how do you feel about rappers just getting in the game like, hey, let's just make something?
That whole thing, especially with celebrities and rappers, it's like that was when I started seeing that started popping up around like March or April. I knew that this was a bubble that was going to burst eventually, like very soon by the summer. Because when you see someone like Kodak Black or Lil Yachty making their own cryptocurrency and having their fans invest into it, it's like, okay, this is getting to the point where it's ridiculous now, and people are just hopping on this because they see money to be made in it. But the whole thing with celebrities and that is, I don't see any like actual value in that. I think that was just a scheme made up by a company that approached like these artists and said, hey, you want to make some quick money and we'll make you a cryptocurrency basically. But one thing that I actually do want to talk about with that is NFTs. What are your guys' feelings on like the NFT space?
I've been trying to explain the NFTs to Josh for months now
because I don't get it at all.
He still doesn't understand. But I think, you know, long term, I think NFTs is going to be like a game changer for a lot of things.
So the thing with NFTs, it stands for non-fungible tokens, if anyone doesn't know, and it's basically a way of digitally owning something. And the way that we saw it really, really big this year is in the space of like owning art and digital art, and not even just through visual art. I mean, the things people have heard about the most are like the Beeple auction that sold for like $60 million or some crazy number like that. But the place where NFTs, I think, really have potential is in digital ownership of things like property, digital ownerships of things. You don't think about all the things that involve contracts and all the things that involve ownership.
Right.
And NFTs are a one-of-one way to own something through blockchain. And I think the potential for that in the future, through just in the whole space of the economy, is insane. So I think the thing that we're seeing now with all the art is going to be passing. It's going to be, this was really popular this year, and then a few years from now we're going to look back and be like, wow, why was that so big? But I think this technology is going to evolve and it's going to be adapted more ways into what we do in society in general.
Right, because how you said, it's not only artwork, it's also like bands were putting out their albums on, you know, through NFTs.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's so much you could do with it. It's just, we're so early on, it's hard to tell what it's really going to be like 5-10 years from now.
And the interesting thing with them too, a good analogy for since you said you don't get how they work, Josh.
Yeah.
Think about it owning like a rare baseball card or something. It's,
Okay, yeah, that's it, because that's
See-
the main thing I see is like the sports cards, like what is it, like a gift or something that you
Well,
just
it's
own
what I was trying to tell him was with like NBA Top Shot.
Yeah.
Like I was trying to say how when the LeBron clip sold for $250,000 or whatever, it's something like that where you could own a clip of a sports scene or whatever, and then that's what you can only one person can own it.
Yeah.
And that's
So-
what makes it valuable.
Okay, but I want to know how does like the people like the NBA, how does the NBA not own their own footage? Like okay, a clip from a game,
Right.
don't they have ownership over that, or whoever
It's
broadcasted it?
like the same thing as you can replicate artwork. Like you can take a picture of the Mona Lisa or something, but it's not the same as actually owning the picture. So it's kind of like that. It's hard to you could just go look up the video on YouTube and watch it, but it's not the same as actually owning the NFT.
Okay.
So it's different.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I kind of see it because even like if you look at video games, a lot of it is going straight to digital.
Mhm.
Like with GameStop going, hopefully, Jesus, out of business, it's gonna be more like digital games. So I kind of see it. So it's just like I just don't understand like the whole overall process. But I guess I'm getting it there. I'm guessing. So
And that's not the only thing with Ethereum so I feel like the NFT part is half of it, and the other part is the decentralized finance. Do you know anything about
DeFi,
that?
Yeah, DeFi, the whole DeFi space.
Yeah, I think that could even be bigger because I've seen if you can get 1%, if Ethereum uses 1% of the global financial assets, I think it puts Ethereum at what 400,000 a token or something crazy like that. So I mean, yeah,
I'd be pretty happy if that happened.
Right.
That's for sure. The thing that actually I really, really like about Ethereum though is that it's open source. So it takes all the blockchain technology that Bitcoin had and it makes it so that people can go out there and edit it and change it in their own ways and build off of it. And that's why you're seeing things like NFTs. That's why you're seeing things like altcoins, like Chainlink and stuff built off of that Ethereum.
Right.
And I think that's what in the long term is going to make it the most valuable is because people are able to. It's still holding that value because so many things are built upon it. And
it's not just like Bitcoin's just like a currency or like a store of value, but Ethereum can be the Ethereum token, and it can also be the network where you can build things on top of it. That's why it has so much more value.
okay, so I know China like just hates Bitcoin, but how does it feel about Ethereum then?
Ethereum,
same thing.
that's a good question.
Yeah, I actually that is a really good question. I mean, the thing with China is they want to monopolize that whole space. They want to have control over all their currency because of the way their government is.
Right. So no matter what crypto, whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, they probably just want it to be owned by the Chinese government. They don't really care about the other ones.
Yeah.
That's probably the main factor for them.
Now, besides China, is like there any other countries that's like
Well,
saying,
what
let me fall back from this or whatever?
What I've seen recently is countries like there's like super small countries like El Salvador. Supposedly starting in August or September, they're going to start accepting Bitcoin as a legal currency. So that's interesting too.
Okay.
But I mean, how my friends were saying, that's probably because the currency sucks so much over there. That's why they're more willing to have a cryptocurrency.
One of the big places where that was actually a thing was Venezuela. Back when Venezuela's economy collapsed, cryptocurrency became like the main form of trading there. Like the main form of just like day to day, like you're going to the store, you're buying something, people would just be using crypto just because that was something that held its value despite what was going on in their country. And I think that is a really big reason why crypto is important. It's not just for investing, it's not just for this, but it's something that gives people the option to have a stability, a currency to that no matter what's going on in their country, no matter where, if it was America or if it's a country where the government is super corrupt and causing their inflation crazy, that it's just the super important part of it, and that's something why I think it's going to hold value in the long term.
I feel like it's almost inevitable that the the economy needs a digital dollar because if you think about it now, the large majority of people don't pay with cash; they pay with some sort of digital transaction. So it's almost it has to happen. It's just like I've heard that the United States might be making their own cryptocurrency, so something like that might happen. But we'll see.
So Josh, how do you how you think like the government just making their own cryptocurrency would affect us then?
See, that is a really interesting like prospect about it because in a way, it kind of takes away from the whole spirit of crypto because the whole point of it is that it's decentralized. There's no one overarching organization or governmental power that's in control of it and like making regulations against it. But at the same time, I feel like it'd be a good way to get more people like our parents' age into it because people at our parents' age think it's crazy. My own parents think I'm insane for putting money into this. And I feel like if it was backed by like an agency like that, or not even like a government, say like JP Morgan made their own crypto, like that would just give it more credibility. And I think in the long term, it would end up benefiting the actual cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and stuff, because it would just provide more like backing and more like stability to it, just more credibility in general. Like if you see someone that important, like a governmental agency or a company that important backing it and making their own, because they're going to have to use the blockchain anyway to make their own, it's just going to make the price of Bitcoin skyrocket.
Right. Or, I mean, what do you think the chances are that the United States regulates, Bitcoin, Ethereum, stuff like that?
Bitcoin and Ethereum, I don't foresee
did,
it. They're doing it with SEC is doing things with some altcoins, yeah. So like we were talking about before with like the Doge space and all those little coins that opened up today. The problem with a lot of them isn't the fact that they're cryptocurrency; it's the fact that they're a scam. And that's where we're seeing a lot of like the regulations and stuff come in. And I feel like a lot of those like smaller coins that sprung up in the past few months, you're going to see disappear off the marketplace as regulatory agencies get in there and kick them out. But I mean, that was just in part because the scam nature of it, that it was a company just trying to take advantage of what was going on in the market and make as much money as possible and then get out of there.
Right.
Okay, so how far do you guys think that we're like, because if you didn't see, the Oakland A's, actually 2 people bought tickets using Dogecoin for an Oakland A's game a couple months ago. But how far along do you guys think we are as a country of making any Bitcoin, anything like that, as like a main form of people to go up there to like McDonald's to get your McChicken?
Right. I mean, I think the big thing is, the most important thing is the corporations and the government. Whichever ones they back, that's what's going to make it a worldwide thing, or a mainstream currency. So that's what we have to wait for. Either the big corporations like Apple or the United States government needs to come out and say, this is going to be our currency. Whether it's Bitcoin or whether it's their own. So,
when you were saying the McDonald's part, that made me cringe. That made me remind of the guy who paid for a pizza with Bitcoin back in the day.
Tweets.
Yeah. So I don't know. With something like Bitcoin, I don't know if it would ever be Bitcoin for a thing like that, just because of the way the value is stored and stuff. Just because I don't think people would be willing to purchase stuff with it. I think the people that do use, the people you see buying Teslas and stuff with Bitcoin, they have such wealth already where it doesn't matter that they're losing potential gains on this by spending Bitcoin on it.
Right, and if we were to do something like that, I think it'd be years and years ahead, because like recently you can see where that's why Tesla stopped accepting Bitcoin as a payment, because at this point, even though it still has a big market cap, it's still too early on, where to the point that it fluctuates too much. You can't have something where you buy $50 worth of something in Bitcoin and then next week it's $30. You can't have that. So that's why we're probably years away if we're gonna have a stable currency like that.
Yeah.
So could you give like maybe 10-ish years?
I say it could be sooner than that. I could see 5 years.
It really just needs to get to the point where, like what you're saying, where it holds the store of value and it's consistent. It's not like something that's going to change overnight. It needs to be something that will hold the store of value relative to the US dollar and stay consistent on a monthly basis.
Right. And normally you see that when the market cap or the amount invested in it gets big enough. But I feel like I would think the Bitcoin market cap is big enough, but I guess I think it's valued at what, $1 trillion? I want to say,
or it was $1 trillion, maybe even a little bit. At least at the peak, it was a little bit more.
So it's probably a little bit less. But that's let's say $500 billion. That's a big market cap still.
That's larger than economies of a lot of countries.
Right. So I don't know. At first glance, it seems like that'd be big enough, but obviously it's not. So we got ways to go.
Alrighty then. Okay, but now let's switch gears a little bit. With this pandemic, more people have been working at home because of the quarantine and everything. Actually, going into 2021 now, more people are still working at home. What's that one office that said? There's one job that said all the workers will be working at home. I forgot the name of it. Did we bring it up last week?
There's a lot of companies saying that.
Okay, but yeah, that's like the big mainstay. But now I'm asking you guys, how did you? Let's talk more about the pros and the cons of working from home versus working at home.
I think I'm definitely on the side of working from home, because I hear so many people say they like it better. I hear people say they're actually more productive when they're at home. They save money. They could live wherever they want. So I'm definitely on the side of work from home.
Okay, real quick, I don't understand how people are more productive at home, but I guess I can. I guess it's pretty cool because, like, hey,
I think what they were saying was something like, when they're at home, they're
more happier.
They're happier and they're
Okay.
more engaged with what they're doing.
Okay, that
Versus
makes
at the
sense.
office, they're for whatever reason they're distracted or whatever.
It's not even that. It's you're counting down the hours till you can get home
Right,
when you're
yeah.
at the office. So it's like when you're working at home, you're still doing the same amount of work. You're still doing the same tasks, but you're in an environment that you're comfortable in, and you're not trying to get anywhere after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely on the same side as you. I think it is a good thing. I think a lot of companies don't like that it became such a good thing because they can't monitor the employees well. That you can't keep track of what people are doing when they're not in your own like property.
Right. And I even have friends that said that they feel like when they do have, let's say they meet once a week to meet in person, they feel like it's still a waste. They feel like they could just work from home permanently. So it's like, is it really necessary to meet in person at all?
True, but I also feel like how Josh was saying that companies might not like it. I think companies kind of do like it because you got to also think of how much money they are saving as well. They don't have to pay for a janitor,
Right.
and all of those fees, a building. So that's a lot of fees that's not coming out of their pocketbooks.
I think with startups, especially ones coming out of the pandemic, I think
Very
we're going to
true,
see
yeah.
a lot more of that where it's like strictly like we'll have a core team of 10 or 15 people that go to an office and then everyone else is online.
Yeah, because it's not even the internet. You don't even have to pay for any of that. So
We'll see what happens. We will see what happens.
okay, but real quick, but Josh, if you had to have, say you work at I don't know, work at Beauduy and Enterprises, and we are one of the greatest industry the past 10 years. We sell let's go, I don't know, some type of computer software. And I give you a choice of you can work at home or you can also come to the office. What would you do?
Was it be office full time or would it be office only part time?
Let's say, that's a good question.
Because that's a big factor. If it was office full time, I'd say no, I'm working at home. But if it was like Niko was saying, once or twice a week, I could manage that.
How about you go to the office for 2 weeks, the entire month, the other 2 weeks you're at home? Or you can just stay at home the entire.
Would it be like a significant pay difference? Or would it be the same pay?
Yeah, that's the big question.
Yeah.
That is a big question.
And if it was going to hurt your further prospects in the company too, like if a person would be more likely to get a raise if they were in the office, then I feel like then that's worth it.
See, I heard like CEOs saying that they're considering paying people less now because they don't have to go. Let's say you work in Chicago and you live here.
You don't have to pay for gas.
Yeah.
You don't have
commuting.
to pay for commuting. You don't have to pay for all the expenses in the city. So it's like they were thinking about paying them less from just because they're working at home. So I don't know. I mean, it's like it depends.
Companies are winning then because, like I was saying, you don't have to pay for a building either, and they're taking money off your check account. So I
Right.
can also see that too. So
I mean, it depends how you like value the employee. Are you paying them because they have to pay for expensive things, or because of that work they're doing, no matter where they're working from? So it depends.
Niko, what would you do?
I would definitely like working at home for the majority, and then maybe once every week or 2 weeks meeting in person.
Okay.
Because I feel like it is a different. Like when you do Zoom calls and stuff, it's definitely not the same communication from when you're in person. It's different. So I definitely say you should meet up in person at least once every 2 weeks.
Josh, have you been in any type of Zoom meeting? How do you feel about that?
So I was all through this school year I was online. I go to the Kelly School at IU.
Okay.
And all my classes and stuff this entire year I was completely at home, like through Zoom. And in a school setting, I actually liked it more. I know a lot of people felt the opposite way, but in a school setting, I felt like I was less engaged when I had to go to a physical location, like a lecture hall and stuff. For me personally, if I had to go out in person and then have to like drive there, worry about my car getting towed, worry about everything, I was less engaged than if I'm sitting in my basement on my computer, just having nothing to do but pay attention to this.
Right, I see.
You might be like the first person that's ever heard that
I mean,
from.
see, I like going to the school just to like talk to people and have a teacher to talk to. Maybe see them do stuff in person. But as far as doing the homework and the projects, I actually like doing it at home better.
Yeah,
I feel like you have more time and stuff. It just
that's exactly how I felt too. You definitely the social aspect of school and like the being able to ask a teacher for help definitely became harder. But when it came to like actually learning and actually doing work, I got better grades this year than I had any other year of college.
Right, and it's
me too.
It's easier to look up answers and stuff when you're at home. You know what I mean?
Shut up. Oh my God, why would you say that? Oh my God. Okay, let's keep going, guys. Niko, what else do you want to talk about?
Did we talk about the reason Virgin Galactic shot up?
No, we kind of brush over Virgin Galactic, but let's talk about why.
Yeah, so the FAA, I think it stands for Forgot it's something with the aviation sector, but
Friends, Alliance, Allegiance.
That's it. They approved Virgin Galactic to fly into space now. So now they're going to start taking people to space, and I don't know. This could be a big thing for the company. This could be a huge game changer.
Okay,
so,
but isn't Bezos going to space? When is that?
Bezos is going to space, and Elon Musk is going to space
this year.
It's they're trying. They're hoping for it. I don't know if it's going to happen.
Okay, but Josh, how do you feel about all this space stuff? You want to join like the Space Force or anything like that?
Space Force, damn, I forgot about that.
Yeah, they're also taking people with the balloons now too. They got space balloons taking people.
Weather balloon, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, like you serious? Like those balloons that they light on fire and go up?
Yes, I've seen pictures of them now.
Nah, that's a hot air balloon. That's
a hot air. It looks like that though. It looks just like that.
Yeah, it's like big weather balloon thing. No, there's like the Red Bull guy that jumped from space. It's like similar to that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think in the future it's an industry that's going to be huge. I think the first $1 trillion company is going to be specifically because of space, because of either asteroid mining or space tourism. Or
the first $1 trillion company.
Trillion, yeah.
What do you mean first $1 trillion? Like market cap wise?
No, like I watched some video on this and they said that the first $1 trillion company would be something with space. Why?
Well,
what was gas at?
Because there's already some companies that have $1 trillion valuations.
Okay. Then maybe it was a higher figure then. I forget. I think
could be.
Yeah. But it was. They said like the first company that. Oh no. It wasn't the first trillionaire. Sorry. I didn't mix up.
Okay.
The first trillionaire that's ever going to exist on planet Earth is going to be someone involved in space.
I think I heard that too.
Yeah.
I actually heard that too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no one there.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. But
yeah, I think space, like asteroid mining, is the huge thing at that. I think everything that we're doing now is just the tip of the iceberg, and I think we're going to have to take these steps. And I think the privatization of it is really important into doing that, because the more people we can get there that aren't like held back by government funding and government regulation,
right.
I think that privatizing it and making it something that companies are going to put money into and get out there, I think that's going to expedite the process a ton.
And it helps too when some of them pair up with NASA to build out these rockets and stuff. That helps too. So.
Okay, but Josh, I have this question for you. I'm Jeff Bezos. Look at me, I'm Jeff Bezos. I have one more seat on this spaceship. We will be the first people to inhabit. Where are they going?
Mars. Yeah,
Let's go to Mars.
Will you be going? This is the first trip. You'll be one of the first 5 people. What are you doing?
Absolutely. I think absolutely.
The first trip?
Yeah. Even if you die a legend. That's you die like Neil Armstrong if he died on the moon landing. Like I feel like, I mean, clearly we wouldn't be taken on that, but I mean, you'd have to be an astronaut. Yeah. But I would definitely do it. I think even though the risks are insane and you're going to be in space for 3 months before you even get there, I think you'd go down in history as a legend.
That's true. That's true. I still would have gone the first trip, but you got a point though.
Yeah, I'll probably go like on a
maybe the 10th trip or something.
More like the 1000th.
Yeah.
So it'd be like a nice little subway,
like a tourist trip. Yeah.
I'll probably do that. But they always think about doing hotels too.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
And also the other factor is how much are they going to charge? Because I think right now, like Justin Bieber and
I think it's like a couple million.
No, I think it's $250,000.
Yeah, I think it's a few $100,000 at least, but no, I don't think it was over $1 million.
Yeah, but they definitely already got some reservations though. They already got at least a dozen people going on that first flight.
Oh, Justin Bieber's going?
Justin Bieber, Leonardo DiCaprio, and there's a couple other celebrities. You got to look it up.
Oh my God, I hope this isn't a tragedy. Jesus.
But for Virgin Galactic, the CEO Richard Branson, he says before he takes anybody on there, he's going to do one trip himself to make sure it's safe.
Oh, that's smart.
They've been trying to do this for like 15 years now, and they've had so many people killed from trying to send these planes and these rockets up. So who knows? There's a chance that he'll die too. We just got to keep watching.
Okay, but let's pray it's not another Challenger accident on this one. But besides just for Virgin Galactic, Josh, are you looking to invest in any other type of space
I think
company
SpaceX is probably the most stable of the ones that are, just because they've had their foot in the door the longest out of all of them, and they've been the ones that have been making the biggest leaps forward. Not just because of Elon Musk, but I mean, just from what they've been doing with reusable rockets and everything. I think they're going to be the ones that are setting the framework for other companies to follow through. So I think investment wise, I never actually put any money into them, but I think that's probably one of the most stable ones.
Overall, how do you feel about Elon Musk?
He's an interesting guy. He's definitely a smart guy. I read his autobiography, and
Wait, he wrote his own autobiography?
I think it wasn't owned by him. It was he like had insight or input into
a ghostwriter.
Yeah.
So like the Last Dance documentary. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, for Elon. But I think he gets in the news a lot because like more so than say another billionaire like Zuckerberg or something because he's wild and he's a wild card and he makes tweets all the time and stuff like that. But he wouldn't be as rich as he is if he wasn't a smart guy. And I think the people that obsess over him are kind of ridiculous too. Like,
Niko?
Dude, okay, listen, I like him. I admire him because he does a lot of cool stuff. I also made a lot of money from Tesla. Okay, that is another factor. So
You have a weird obsession with the guy.
I don't have an obsession. I like what he does. He does a lot of cool things.
You know what Niko tells me every single week? Let's talk about different types of topics for everybody.
Well, okay,
And here comes him talking about Tesla.
Well, this is the problem is, like, so Tesla is such an important company right now, and they're like the number one stock of 2020, the past year. So, okay, Josh, what's your opinion on Tesla? What do you see them doing in the next 5 years?
I think they're gonna grow even larger than what they are now. I mean, even just from a stock point of view, I still think they're undervalued. Just because it's not super widely adopted yet. The only people you see driving Teslas are people that can afford it, people that can afford a luxury car in the first place. And I think when it gets to the point where you see a mom in a minivan driving a Tesla minivan, when Tesla gets to the size of like a company like Chrysler or something, I think that's inevitable, and that's going to be the future. So I think it's still definitely way undervalued right now.
You say you think it's going to be inevitable?
Electric cars in general are going to be inevitable. If it's Tesla or if it's someone else, I mean, Tesla just has, like, once again, the first mover advantage for that. But, I mean, electric's inevitable for vehicles, I think. I think with gas prices are going to get to the point where it's not going to make sense to drive a gas car unless you're, like, driving diesel for a truck or something. And electric is going to be the only way forward.
Okay, I have two problems with that.
Okay.
Just two. My first problem is, we already talked about the price. The price of electric cars are very high.
They're coming down. They're coming down.
But for it to come down, the lowest model, like a good, probably van size, has to be around 12 to 18,000.
Yeah, that's cheap. That's low.
But hey, that's how it needs to be because a lot of these cars, like how much is a new Grand Caravan now? That's about 22.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And for it to be electric, for everyone want to switch, it's gonna have to be a little bit lesser.
Well, they were saying the affordable price they were going to have for the smaller Tesla was going to be $20,000, which I thought that's cheap. That's affordable.
Okay, but you also got to also think that if I have a family, a wife, and about 2 other kids, can we really fit in that small little electric car?
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah, you're right.
So then the second one is just that I think the car industry is like a total Ford Chrysler. It's kind of like a grandfather type of thing. I think that's the only like big problem that Elon will have is just trying to bust through that gap of like, hey, let me talk to these old people because these car companies have been around for over 100 some odd years now. So I think that's probably gonna be the only big problem as well too. So
okay, Josh, let me get your opinion on self-driving.
Self-driving, autonomous.
Where do you think that's going?
I think what they're doing with it now is just like the tip of the iceberg with it. Like what you see in Tesla is how you can do it on the lanes on its own in the highway. I think that's the tip of the iceberg. I think eventually we're going to get to the point where deep learning and AI are going to become so intelligent that
Knight Rider car.
Yeah, it's gonna be that, or it's gonna be like say you're going out to a bar or something. You're going to get a drink. Your car drops you off and then picks you up when you call it back. I think eventually that's what it's going to be. I'm not saying that's any time in the near future, but 20, 30 years down the line, I think AI will get to that point where that'll be completely feasible. But the problem with it is we need infrastructure upgrades. We need upgrades on roads, and that's why it's not going to become something that's super widely adopted anytime in the near future with the technology that we have right now.
How far along do you think electric cars will be more around? So let's talk about
let's say half, 50%.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, about 50%. How many years along do you think that'll be?
That's a good question.
Because me and Niko
we did our guesses on this a couple weeks ago.
It would definitely be faster than normal cars, but I mean, I don't know, probably 10, 15 years.
You think so?
I mean, it's really gonna. Are you talking about just like the majority of people driving it?
We're saying what year will 50% of the cars be
electric? Okay. I got you. 20. I think it'd be around 20.
20 years.
I think it's really gonna come down to batteries. That's the main cost factor when it comes to electric cars is that batteries cost so much.
Mm-hmm.
And if we make advancements in battery technology, as we're already doing, but
Mhm.
the main problem is that they're based on lithium ion right now, which it works, but it's not the most efficient as it can be. And I think that's the main part where it's going to be a hurdle. And once they get past that hurdle, it's going to be something you're going to see everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So 15 to 20, I think, is what I would say. What were you guys thinking with it?
Nico said like 5.
I don't think 5. Definitely not 5.
Nico said like 5.
Let's say I cannot wait to come back to this episode 5 years from now.
Nico, 5 years?
5 years, I'm telling you.
Nico, that's a long time.
Worst case.
The only good thing about that might actually be closer to 5 years is because used cars is like a shortage on used cars,
Mm-hmm.
and you could easily put in new cars. Probably like drop the price down on new cars if they wanted to do that, just because it's a huge shortage on used cars.
So
that's a lot, 50%.
I'll say best case scenario, what I think is 5 years. Worst case scenario, 2030. That's worst case scenario at the very latest.
So 10.
So yeah, 9 years. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's what's really going to come down to pushing the market that way too is gas. If gas is getting higher in price, that like overall all over the board, then we're going to see more people need to jump into electric, and you're going to see more companies like Chrysler and BMW or GMC and stuff. Instead of just having a one-off vehicle be electric, you'll see them start shifting their entire fleets over to electric because that's where the demand is going to lie.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to take an external factor like gas to push it to that. That's why I'm thinking that it's going to be more along 15 to 20, just because I don't see in the next 5 years, I don't see gas spiking to the point where a family is going to consider.
Well, you also got to think, though, it's not just the rising gas prices. It's you're going to save money even now when you do electric charging versus paying for gas.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the closest electric charge?
You get like a mini
And then where's
charger.
the closest gas station?
But you just
That's
listen.
a good point.
You get a small charger for your house.
I live in an apartment.
Okay. If you want to go to the superchargers,
Where's the closest supercharger?
they're putting in like 1,000 new ones every year. The closest one to me is the Myers in Maryville. Okay, but they got
Myers in Maryville, and where do you live?
I live in Crown Point.
How
So
many
it's 10 minutes? 5-10 minutes on the street.
That's definitely not 5-10 minutes.
It's 10. I live 10 minutes away
Okay, 10 minutes.
from
And
the Myers in Maryville.
Okay, from your house, where's the closest gas station?
Like 3 minutes away.
Okay, and you say you live in a house, right?
Yeah.
What if I live in an apartment?
That is very true.
I don't know what to tell you.
I think the part of it too, with the state of it is now, especially with just like Tesla, it's something that if you're like an upper middle class family, that's when it becomes something where it's like, this is an investment. I'm gonna make money back on this. Like I'm gonna save money in the long term, so this is something I can afford and use in my house. For people our age, it's not feasible, especially in the area we live. If we lived in California, maybe. We don't live in California. The infrastructure isn't here yet, and that's why it's going to take time for it to be like 50% that's a lot of cars. 50% is a lot of cars.
Yeah, California is way closer. There's a lot of Teslas in California.
Yeah, we're talking about because we're closer to a big city. What if I live in Mississippi or Omaha?
Okay, but how you were saying, there is the other factor too is the Tesla, or let's say self-driving cars, they're going to make you money. It's going to be able to pay you. So you're going to be able to make income from the car. I'm telling you, 5 years from now, 5 years.
Okay, but I will also have to give up $25,000+.
That's why it's
more.
That's why it's a thing where I'm saying like it's going to take time for it to become an investment that like a college kid or someone out of college, person in their 20s could make. It's something right now where you have a stable income, you have savings, you have like everything. You're financially stable. Then you can be like, okay, I'm going to put however my $40,000-$50,000 into a Tesla, what it is now,
right?
And then make money off of that and save me money on gas. But it's not feasible for someone like us, realistically.
And like even my uncle, I've had people like my uncle say, and they have money. They said that the problem though with them is they do so much driving with work that it didn't make sense to get a Tesla because they thought the 300 or 350 miles of range still wasn't enough.
That is another big problem with it too.
Yeah.
That's a part of the thing with the batteries that I was talking about before too, is there needs to be extended range and it needs to be cheaper to make, which is a bucket of problems on its own, hitting those two factors. But I think if that improves and it becomes to something where it's like a tank of gas, a little bit more than a tank of gas, like on one charge, I think then people will start realizing like, yeah.
Where do you go if your Tesla breaks down on the side of the road?
Here's the cool thing. I personally know someone from P&W, and they've had problems like that where the window breaks, something like that happens. You don't have to take it in. For a lot of the issues, you can just get a software update on the Tesla. And if that doesn't work, the other thing is the Tesla repair guy will come to your house and fix it.
Okay, and how
And
much will he be charging?
I know that's always the argument. I'm sure it's a lot. Okay, I'm sure it's a lot.
Will he be charging more or less than I don't know, my guy who lives right down the street from me, who I've been knowing for 10 years, who's been fixing cars all his life?
I mean, it's probably going to have less repairs to do though, and if you can fix a lot of them, which is software updates, that's another thing to save you money.
But that's a lot. Now you can't even go to a mechanic. You got to go to a technician.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something a little bit more practical. Josh, how do you feel about hybrid cars?
Oh, hybrid.
Hybrid. Hybrid is definitely a lot more feasible than electric. I mean, I don't know what percentage of the market do you think hybrid even is nowadays? I haven't even thought about that.
I don't know.
Probably
Yeah.
10, 15, something like that.
I think. Are you talking about strictly hybrid, just like electric and gas? Or are you talking about? Okay, yeah. It's definitely a lot more feasible, and I think that's one of the things where we'll start to see steps forward it more. Like, I think the 50% hybrid is going to be way sooner than 50% electric. Like, it's just going to become the norm, that it's going to be a combination of both. But, I mean, it's still kind of in that same space where what I was talking about with, like, electric cars, like a bigger car company. It's like a 1 or 2 off vehicle that they make, and then their main line is all gas-powered. So I think hybrid is just it's a stepping stone, you know? It's to get people who are too afraid to go completely electric, but to get their foot in the door and then see the benefits from it and the advantages, and then be able to fully transition later on.
Mm-hmm. So you said you're much more into crypto than you are stocks, right?
Yeah.
But you said you did get Tesla.
Yeah.
You bought Tesla at what price?
It was about like 170, 180. This was like a year and a half ago before it spiked.
Right. So that's still pretty early.
Yeah.
You got in before a lot of the spike. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, is there any other stocks right now that you're bullish on?
So are you stocks or just crypto? Or
let's say for stocks just for now.
Okay. So with a lot of my stocks, I have a couple holdings, a couple mutual funds that I just forget about. And then I have a lot of stable ones too, like with Disney and stuff like that. It's just stable stocks that you just don't think about, and then you take your dividends out every year, and then 20 years down the line it'll look about taking it out and putting it towards retirement or whatever. I'm trying to think what other actual stocks.
So you don't really monitor it?
No. And that's even with crypto this year. I would check crypto every day, but I wouldn't let what was ever going on that day influence my decision on if I was going to buy or sell.
Right.
Just because it's all the panic and stuff with it. I mean, I think this year a lot of people made a lot of money, but a lot more people lost a lot of money from the space.
Because when you trade off the hype stuff, that's so scary. It's so scary. That's why I've told Josh to sell something like a Dogecoin.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I'm not into the whole.
I could have had an island if I didn't listen to it.
Whatever. Okay, next time do it. We'll see how it works out.
Okay, I will. Hopefully, American goes up to $80.
Or get on the next meme stock. Go on Reddit, see what the next one is.
Yeah, Wall Street bets.
Yeah.
What was your guys' take on that? I know you guys probably covered it, but with the whole GameStop situation, the AMC situation.
Niko, tell him about the Nemo story real quick.
The Nemo story.
When the week when he's talking about it. Oh my God! Just give your opinion first.
I think Nemo. I'm not sure what happened with him. I think he made a bunch off of GameStop, I want to say.
Okay.
But, I mean, I know people who made a lot from GameStop, and I know people who bought in at $400 a share and lost all their money.
Yeah.
So my main thing is, if you can make money off it, that's fantastic. I just don't like the whole, mindset and culture of let's hype up this one stock or all that type of stuff, whether it's crypto or these shorted stocks. So I'm just not a fan of that mindset. It's the wrong thing to get into.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think that whole situation, that was back in January, late January. That was the first time we've ever seen this internet taking over and manipulating a financial marketplace like this. And I think this is going to be it's going to turn out to be a moment in history of what happened there. And what happened with that is partly, I think, the reason why everything went crazy with crypto too. I mean, all that stuff transitioned into Doge, but it funneled down into everything else that happened this year, and it's part of the reason why everything went down.
Yeah.
And where it is now. But I think that we're going to see more of that in the future. It might not be as newsworthy. It might not be as a crazy thing, because this was the first time it ever happened. But I think it's going to happen more and more. Maybe not even just with Wall Street bets. Maybe on a private Discord server of 100 people.
I see.
You never hear about it.
I'm in different chats and Facebook group chats and stuff. It's hundreds of people just hyping up certain stuff. What are we buying today? What should I do? Should I sell? All that. Keep holding it so I can make money. All that. But I think that I do kind of like the idea though of because Wall Street, a lot of the hedge funds, they definitely do manipulate certain stocks. And when they put out, if they say, okay, this stock, Tesla's going to $1,000, then the stock goes up. So they're definitely manipulating a lot of these stocks. So I understand if the Wall Street bets community wants to come back and say, okay, well, now we could do the same thing, so that's cool. It's just, it's also a dangerous thing to be doing.
Yeah, I think it's important in the fact that it gives power to the people instead of hedge funds. It gives power back to the people. But I also think it's dangerous. I didn't put any money into that, and I wouldn't. But, I mean, if you do and you made money, congrats.
That's great, right?
Yeah.
Now, another thing similar to that is like penny stocks. Have you had any experience with penny stocks?
I did a couple of shipping companies back in the day. In like 2017, there was a company called Dry Ships, and it skyrocketed. I forget how much it went, but it was like an insane.
What's it called?
DRYS is what it trades under. Yeah, I haven't looked. That was like 2017, I want to say. It was like a Greek shipping company.
Oh, okay. Do you know what price you got in at?
Super low. I know that it used to be worth a lot more. I never like made a super amount of money. I probably put in like $50 to $75 into it, and then it skyrocketed. And I made like a couple $100.
Not bad though.
And that was like, this was like before I even was into crypto. Really, this was like my first foray into into like stock.
So
stuff.
let's say for your like portfolio, what percent do you think should be dedicated to penny stocks?
That's a good question. I mean, the problem with penny stocks too is it takes so much active monitoring and so much active. So it really depends on your lifestyle. If you're someone who's a nerd about this stuff, like I am, and checks it every day, then you can put more significant amount. I'd say like 15, 20. I wouldn't like.
Really, that's too much for me.
Really, yeah.
That's kind of high though.
For me,
I understand.
I mean, but it's the same way I look at altcoins and things. The same way I would look at a penny stock. It's something that you need to monitor all the time because you never know.
Yeah.
But for a traditional portfolio, I wouldn't go like over 5. Like,
yeah, that's how I am.
Yeah.
I'm more at the 5% range.
Yeah.
Well, Niko's like a 50-year-old man. But.
Well, I'm more of a long-term investor.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you can get good returns. Like I've made 50, 100% returns with Facebook, Google, and Amazon. Yeah. I don't need like penny stocks to get big returns on. So that's the problem.
Okay, real quick, we actually have a caller on the air. Tom. Oops. Hey, Tom.
You guys were talking about electric cars, and what a lot of people are missing about electric cars is, specifically with the new Green Deal and any future plans, is they want to borrow the power from the battery in your electric car. You're going to have to plug it in at work. You're going to have to plug it in at home. It's going to be part of the grid where they can borrow your power back. So if you think you have 350-mile range and they know it's 50 miles for you to drive back from work, I'm not sure they're going to leave you enough power to go 350 miles.
I see what you're saying. I see.
Yeah, that is, your battery is going to help the solar arrays and the wind powers where they're going to store the power.
I see. Okay. That's interesting.
And that's going to be a part of the whole deal. I'm sure you're going to be required to plug it in if you want to get a certain rate or a better rate. I don't see people, well, I'm going to unplug my car and charge it with my standby natural gas generator. If you see in California, they don't already want you to use natural gas.
Right.
That you're going to be part of the big system, and there may be even less flexibility than you think. So
I think we just need some EVs that have a range of, let's say, 500 plus miles. If something like that came out, that would be really nice.
Well, if you could plug it in and be assured that, when you get off work at 4:30, 5 o'clock, and everybody has their air conditioner on, that you're actually going to have 550 miles worth of electricity in it, that they haven't borrowed it back from you, maybe that would be fine. But I don't really trust the system because of that.
So what year do you think EVs will be half of the car market?
That's up to them if they want to get rid of gasoline and diesel.
Yeah.
I mean, I and the way tax breaks are specifically. I mean, it's all fun. Everybody crabs about, tax breaks to oil companies, but when, gas is $2 or below, that's all fine and dandy, We'll see, depending on how they want to limit it.
Because I think they
and let's face it, with an EV, self-driving EVs are great unless they want to question you have your car drive you in for questioning.
Right.
You know, it may not be all doomsday scenario, but I don't trust the people that have been running California recently to manage my battery in my car.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's turning into brownouts and electric lines hitting the ground or them depleting your battery, I think they would deplete your battery immediately.
Right. Yeah, that's a problem.
And you will be required to plug in, and you're going to buy the electricity from them. Now, maybe if you have a solar array on your house, they'd let you do more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Right.
We'll find out. So keep that in mind. I mean, that may not be here for years, but long term, they need your battery. There isn't enough battery storage
Mm-hmm.
to do what they want to do with renewables, and that battery in your car is going to become an important asset. And especially if
Right.
they give you tax breaks to buy it, they're going to have strings attached.
See, and they were a couple years ago, like 2018, 2019, Tesla had like a $7,500 tax credit when you bought one, but I'm pretty sure they took it away. I don't think it's around anymore.
Yeah, I know there were also tax breaks for those low, like the glorified golf carts too.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting those for free. I think that's gone also.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm pretty sure I heard China was doing the same thing too. I think they were giving tax credits too.
Yeah, I have no idea on their exact position. So, either way, I mean, I've got gas right now. I don't mind either one. There will be, as long as you can go somewhere and have it available.
Right, and how we were saying, it really does depend on how expensive gas is.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know, because if gas is $5 a gallon, then that's a problem.
Yeah. So electrical, becomes, better at that, and maintenance costs too. I guess the Tesla maintenance costs are quite low. So we'll see what happens, but they will want your battery.
Okay.
Believe me.
We will keep that in mind.
The idea of coming out and finding out that you have 20% power when you thought you had 100 may not be that good. So.
Right.
Okay, well, thanks for talking with me.
Hey,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Tom.
Okay, bye.
All right. Niko.
I'm glad we got some new insights there.
Okay, don't look at me like that again, okay? I don't know how much the price of a Tesla
I'm just saying.
Whatever. You saw that, Josh?
Yeah.
Sneaky dog. You know.
Even that guy knew.
Whatever. Okay, but Niko, you got anything else to say?
I think. What's your opinion on day trading?
Day trading, I mean, it takes a certain special kind of person to do it. I'm not that person.
Has that ever worked for you?
I've done it a few times on altcoin stuff, but I've regretted it more so than I have made money on it. And it takes a person who does it for a living. It's a full-time job at the end of the day. Even if you're not doing it as a full-time job, it takes the same amount of work and the same amount of research as a full-time job would. It's not just sitting on the page and refreshing it and looking at the price and selling it at a higher price. You have to predict when it's going to be at a higher price and make your profit and then put that money back into it. It's super risky and it's super volatile. It's not for me. I know a lot of people do it and a lot of people make a lot of money on it, but I personally, I could never do it. What about you?
I'm the same way, really. I don't really like day trading either. I'm much more of a long-term investor for so many different reasons. But what about options?
Options is gambling.
For me,
the options is literally you may as well go to the casino.
Options is hard. Options is really tough to figure out.
I know you guys had Riley on here before, and I know Riley was super into options at one point, and I don't know how he does it because
I've had people recently, like so many people try to explain it to me, and I understand some of the basics of how it works, like maybe with the call and the puts and just basic stuff. But as far as the strategies and all the specifics, a lot of it's complicated.
I get it in principle. I get how you're supposed to do it, but I would never trust myself enough to put money behind it. Right. It's gambling. It really is just gambling.
Now, you can't do options with crypto, can you?
It would be, you can, but it would be the same way you would do it on a traditional market. You're not shorting like the coin itself, you're shorting the company behind the coin.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's a lot of things in crypto mirror like a traditional market thing like that. Like instead of an IPO, there's ICOs, which is initial coin offering. And what people don't realize is when that happens, it's actually to fund the company behind the coin.
I see.
People don't realize that behind every single coin is a startup company. And when you're doing that, it's just a different way of raising capital. Instead of getting venture funding or going on a traditional market, you're doing it through selling these things to people in exchange for money back to your company to help you grow and help both of you grow.
And that's like what you were saying earlier with so many celebrities are doing it too. Because from what I've heard, to make your own crypto or even your own NFT, it's not that hard. There's not that many barriers to entry.
NFT especially now. NFT,
Right.
literally anyone can do. I know even in the music space, a bunch of other photographers and stuff just like took one of their pictures and like edited it a little bit, like to make it artistic, and then put it on and sold it for an Ethereum or two.
Yeah.
And it's just like NFTs is zero barriers to entry. Really, you just make an account.
Right.
Crypto is a little bit harder, but I mean, it's just because it's harder to do.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as you just make a picture and put it on a marketplace on eBay or whatever, like how you do with the item.
Yeah.
It's more so with making a crypto, you have to know how to code. You have to do back-end coding, and that's not something that a lot of people know how to do.
Right, that's a lot harder.
Yeah.
Now, I think you can just download, like, is it MetaMask? Where you can just download that, and that's where you make your own NFT, right?
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it through there. There's a ton of different marketplaces for it, and the problem with NFT marketplaces is you don't know which one is going to be the Amazon of it. You don't know which one. It's such a wild west for it right now. What you sold it on, especially people who are purchasing. That's the real problem, because you own it through that site. You own it. Your blockchain purchase goes through that site still, and say the site shuts down. Say the site is worth nothing in 10 years, and no one visiting it. You're basically SOL with a piece of art that's worth nothing. So
that's why this scenario that we're in right now with crypto is so much similar to like the .com bubble when the internet first came out. It's almost identical. It's just the same way. People don't understand it. It's how he said, you don't know which one's going to be the winner 10 years from now. So there's going to be a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money because there's going to be so many losers in there. So it's hard to tell. We're still early on.
Yeah. And I think it's gotten to the point where high schoolers are getting in on it. Like, not even like just people who weren't nerds about finance like I am. People who are just like someone who has an extra $50 and just puts it into Dogecoin nowadays. And it's like even my brother, he's a senior at LC, and he came up to me. He's like, "Can you show me how to download Robinhood?"
I know. And see, it's not. It's not only like high schoolers. It's also people that are like in their 60s and 70s. There's people that are 70 years old that are interested in getting into Dogecoin and trying to get AMC and stuff like that. So it's such a weird scenario that we're in right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so you brought up options being gambling. Let's talk about some real gentlemen's gambling, because I'm kind of addicted to this one thing. How are you feeling about the overall sports betting?
Just in general or through like crypto?
Yeah, just like the entire overall business of sports betting. How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's been a thing for forever. I think the thing that we've seen a lot recently is things like DraftKings, things that are opening up the market and taking advantage of the internet through it. I mean, online gambling's illegal in the U.S., but I get why they're not making this illegal. So I don't know. I don't really have a strong opinion on it one way or the other, but I totally understand why it is a thing nowadays and why it's become more of a thing. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Me and Josh have said before, we don't really consider that to be the same as gambling.
Okay.
That's not the same as a casino.
It takes a lot more skill. You're right. Right. Yeah.
There's some strategy. It's not the same as like a slot machine or something.
Yeah, like I sports bet, and there are like some weird possibilities and outcomes that might happen. Like one game, PJ Tucker just shoots 4 threes, kills my parlay and everything. The next game, he's just cold. But things of that nature, it's still kind of like you can still like determine the outcome more.
Yeah.
Now, Josh, have you had any big winners lately?
I think the highest, because I started a couple months ago, I think the highest bet I ever got money-wise, maybe about 270 something.
I'm saying like this past week though or so, have you hit big on any games? Have you made any good calls or anything?
Oh, I got a Jose Abreu home run. No, that was the week before. I had a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Kyle Schwarber home run. But I only got like $5. I got like, I don't know, about $12 back, because it has just turned into like my lottery. If you didn't get like me just putting my numbers in, let me just do these parlay picks.
Right.
And
if you watch all the games and you know about it, it makes sense to do that.
Yeah.
It's not the same as a lottery, because there's strategy behind it.
Yeah. The strategy, I think, is that's like the main thing that separates I think gambling to sports gambling.
Right.
Okay.
And we've also argued about even stocks in general. Is stocks gambling?
Depending what you're doing.
Is buying Apple gambling?
No, buying Apple is not gambling. Buying Dogecoin is gambling.
Yeah.
Trading an option is gambling. But I mean, traditional markets, no, it's not gambling in the long term. In the long term, it fluctuates with the normal economy. The economy is always going to go up with the price of money going up long term. So it's like
like if you invest in Amazon or something, I don't really consider that
Yeah.
gambling.
What if Amazon? I don't know.
There-
just
there-
collapses tomorrow.
Yeah, if
there's a-
Amazon collapsed, I think we'd have a lot bigger problems.
Right,
in
exactly,
society.
exactly. Yeah.
What are your guys' feelings on like crypto casinos? Have you guys heard anything about those?
No,
What
I
is
don't.
that?
I don't know.
So
about
okay,
that.
crypto casinos are online gambling is illegal in the United States.
Yeah.
So to get around that, you have to use a VPN to
Mm-hmm.
go into a crypto casino, and then you can trade. You can do casino activities. You can do like any like table game. You can do slot machines. There's crazy ones. The ones you guys have probably seen. Have you seen the ones where it's like a money multiplier and
Oh,
it just goes
maybe.
up?
Oh, yeah, huh?
And it'll be
Maybe.
like 5 times, and then it'll just drop completely.
But
and yeah.
There's some states like Nevada that
Mhm.
have gambling legal, right?
I think statewide, but federal.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
federally,
federal, right,
federally,
right.
I think it still is legal, but it comes down to the states. with
Yeah,
that
it's the
stuff.
states. Like
Yeah.
even with sports betting, not
Mhm.
all states are
Yeah.
legal. I think it's just Illinois,
There's like
Indiana,
5 or
Mhm.
6 or something.
Jersey.
Is Tennessee was considering being one of them?
I don't know, but yeah, it's about 6. I know us too.
I mean, I've been looking into things like esports and stuff lately.
Mhm.
It looks like that's the future, really. There's so many different companies that are investing into it that it's hard to see it not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know why I didn't get to esports like when I actually knew about it like 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why.
I know. I wish I became like a pro player or something too, because you see some of the prize pools they win at like Dota tournaments or things like that, and it'll be like $3 million for
Mhm.
playing a video game. It's,
You can get drafted into
Mhm.
the 2K league.
Mhm.
That's crazy. Like you're like
Yeah.
a basketball player. That's so
Mhm.
cool to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're definitely gonna. I mean, countries like China and Russia are really putting a lot of development into infrastructure.
yeah.
They have stadiums developed to esports now in those countries.
Yeah, well,
Like,
true. And those
yeah.
those countries like really developed those
Mhm.
games too. There,
Yeah,
so that makes
yeah,
sense.
China and like South Korea and stuff like that. I think it's gonna take a while for America to happen, but I think it will. I think a lot of you see it with kids in Fortnite and stuff now. Kids don't care. A lot of kids like in middle and elementary school don't care about baseball. They don't care about basketball. They care about Fortnite.
Yeah.
And they're gonna follow Ninja and their favorite streamers.
Right.
And those are gonna become the athletes of the future. I think.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't know about IU or anything, but
Mhm.
I know Purdue Northwest has their own esports team. So.
Okay.
Oh, they do?
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they just started about a year ago.
Wow.
So
Interesting.
Hmm.
join the squad, Niko.
Hey, that's why I'm buying all the stocks for esports.
He's
Yeah.
saving up for a gaming rig.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of like all started with the expansion of Twitch too.
Mhm.
Like I think I
Mhm.
remember the first time I've ever been on Twitch. I think it's because of DJ Academics, like 2015. I think that was the first time I started on Twitch,
Uh-huh.
and then Twitch ended up getting bought by Amazon.
Mhm.
Right. Right.
Twitch would have been a good stock if they weren't bought, but hey,
Yeah.
You want to hear some crazy financial news about DJ Academics since you brought that up?
let's go.
Guess how much he makes off of that Instagram page yearly?
About 5 million.
Times 10.
What?
That much?
I can't break down the numbers live, but
Well, yeah.
it's around 50.
Wow.
Just based on the amount of sponsorships he does daily and how much he charges for that, 50 million
Just
yearly.
for posting.
Just for posting on memes every day. And that's just on Instagram. That's not factoring in Twitch. It's not factoring
and
in
how
YouTube.
many?
That's not
how many
factoring-
followers?
Yeah, he has
About-
millions. It's like 5 or 6.
Yeah, a couple million at least.
It's
Wow.
the thing is with his though, his audience is super engaged. So
Mhm.
even though he makes like 20 posts a day, half of those are sponsored, half of those are paid.
Mm.
So people are paying him thousands of dollars for a post.
Yeah, and he had that community for
Mhm.
at least 10 years, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
7
That's
to 10
crazy.
years.
Yeah.
And they just kept building on building. That's a lot of money.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's and people don't think about that when it comes to like internet stuff. They don't see when social media, they just see numbers, but they don't realize all the money that's being made behind the scenes with it.
Mhm.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense because
Mhm.
with all these IG celebrities popping up
Yeah.
too. So,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I wish that was me.
Yeah, I know. Don't we all?
I post 24/7. I post every minute, every second. But Niko, you got anything else to bring up?
I think that's it.
Josh, do you have any parting words?
I just say with anything with crypto, be careful out there. I would say don't put any money into it now. It's going to drop lower than it
You think
is
so?
right now. I think by the end of the year it's going to be even lower than it is now, just
Wow.
because people are still going to keep panicking. People are going to keep panic selling. It's just going to drive prices down. So I think buying now, you're going to be making money in the long term.
Mhm.
But I think that it's going to reach a lower point later in the year. So I think
Wow.
just hold on. Worst case scenario, if it'll drop, it'll still continue to drop a little bit more.
Mhm.
And worst case scenario, will be back at where we are right now.
Mhm.
But I would say be careful and don't treat crypto like a traditional investment unless it's Bitcoin. And don't get into Dogecoin or meme stocks. Please,
Right.
Please.
Yeah, you missed the trip, the boat or whatever. Oh yeah,
On what?
AMC. Did you get into AMC at all?
I did not. I did not touch
No.
AMC or GameStop with a 10-foot pole.
No.
I was super into it. I was super interested in everything that was happening, but I was not going to put any dollar in that because I did not know what was going to happen with that.
Yeah, the memes were funny on Twitter.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. I think that was a moment in history, and that's going to be something that we're going to remember our whole lives, just because that's the first time the internet actually manipulated a financial market on a massive scale like that.
I think it's weird that they're still up. Like they stay up for like months.
Yeah, but I mean, AMC I think is gonna be okay now because more people are going to movie theaters soon. I
Yeah,
kind of
but
miss
it's
going
not.
to movies too.
But before it was like a $2 stock. Now it's $50. It didn't 25x in value.
Yeah, you're right.
That's not
That's
all
it's
legit.
crazy how many people must have held then to have
I
that happen.
know.
I know after all of that, like
Now my friend, he bought in at $2 before the whole meme stock thing started.
really.
Oh
My God.
Because he's just he's a fan of AMC.
Yeah.
but that's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. But that concludes this episode. What other episode is this, Niko?
15, I want to say.
Okay, we're not sure, but this concludes the episode of the Stock Talk podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Josh Beauduy. Niko,
Kritikos.
once again, our co-host. Wait, is it co-host or guest? Co-host.
Maybe he'll be a co-host after this.
Okay, guest, Josh.
Yep, good to see you guys.
The Josh and Josh. We could just call it the Josh and Josh and Niko. Oh, we could just put Niko like in the description. Like, Niko may or may not make an appearance. But once again, this is the conclusion of Stock Talk podcast, and we will see y'all later.